All right, it is for yeah. All right, it is time for the Smokin' Hot Tip of the week, and we are joined today by DJ Mentzel, man, great dude at Texas Star Grill Shop, Woodland Store. If you are in the greater Houston area or you're driving in for some Christmas presents and some advice and some expertise, and the reason we have fine folks like DJ and Tyler Gurney and Juan Diaz on is because the expertise is next level stuff. All right, so DJ, we just finished a podcast with the guy himself, Jeremy Andrus from Traeger Grills. And that's why I wanted to get into this Smokin' Hot Tip with you, because Traeger clearly, as you well know, I mean, you deal with them every day, and pellet grills, but Traeger in particular have just sort of taken over the world in the last 8 to 10 years or more. But there's a lot of stuff that is, in along those same lines, some other things that folks are really getting into. And I wanted to start with griddles because it wasn't that long ago. I mean, griddles have been around, but now they seem to be really, really taking off. And I think a lot of people have questions about them. So I want to ask you about answer some of those questions with you, because I've used them. I do not have one. I have everything else in my backyard. I'm looking over there right now doing it, but I don't have them. Probably going to be in the market for one here pretty soon. But I've used them a lot, and the versatility, number one, is what jumps out at me with a griddle. First of all, why do you think there is this spike in griddles across the country?
What I've noticed with griddles is they kind of like trend. It's kind of like the stock market. It kind of low, and then there's a big spike and a big boom. Mm-hmm. And right now we're on like a big boom with griddles and stuff. It really does just transform and change what you can cook outside, right? We've been cooking and grilling outside for a long time. And if you have a grill, you can't throw rice on there. You're not making cheese steaks, stuff like that. And so you get these griddles. Now you can do breakfast outdoors, right? You can sit outside with your morning coffee and the kids and make breakfast and stuff like that. And so it just really is a unique cooking apparatus that lets you do all sorts of things that you're just not going to be able to obtain on other grills.
And I'm curious for you what your thoughts are on them in general. I mean, anybody who cooks outside, it's okay with me. But you and I and a lot of people listening to this podcast are all about smokers, offset smokers, pellet grills, barrel, pits, live fire. Does it kind of? Do you think it connects? Do you think it connects with guys like us?
It does. And for the longest time, I had 12 grills at one point in my lifetime. And the one grill I never had was a gas grill. And I didn't have a griddle. It wasn't until not too long ago when I got a griddle a couple years ago. And I'm just not a fan of gas, right? I like smoke. I like charcoal. I like that flavor. But my wife wanted a griddle, so we got a griddle. And surprised at how much I cooked on it. I actually cooked on it a lot more than I thought I would. Started using it much more than my offset, that's for sure. And just like weeknight meals, man, like I said, like a lot of times I cook in the kitchen a lot too. But like a lot of these meals where like if I have like a couple friends over or something, and I want to do like a hibachi style dinner and something like that, we can all sit outside and hang out, and I can cook right there while we're all hanging out versus me being secluded in the kitchen, right? And so it really does help with guys like us who do like to entertain and do like to be outside when we're cooking, right? Mm-hmm. And not be so cooped up in the kitchen.
It's a social
it is, yeah.
It's a social sort of hub. And we've talked about that. In fact, we just talked about that. But I want to ask you specifically about the versatility. You mentioned, and this is what kind of has sold me on them. Not only socially can everybody be out here in the backyard and adding their 2 cents, so to speak. But you can cook you said breakfast. You can cook all three meals.
Yeah.
Conceivably. You can do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that to me is, hey, we're having the kids over for Saturday smash burgers. Oh, let's cook them all at one time right there. You know what I mean? The versatility might be a sales point.
Yeah, the versatility is for sure a selling point. And just smash burgers, smash them up. You got kids come over, they're going to stay the night. Kids love pancakes. So you have a couple, like a sleepover, you've got 4 kids over or something like that. You just cook up a ton of pancakes really quick. It's really simple.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the specifics here. Go ahead. I'll edit this out.
Okay. Hey, you. Yeah, no, I'll be with you in a second. No, we're just doing it first. Okay. It's Rick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just pick it up right there.
Okay.
He should troll you in the background. Start making faces.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk specifics here. You guys at Texas Star Grill Shop or wherever, we prefer people to go there because it's such a cool place. When you're looking at griddles, and I know there's a lot of people, like we talk about, it's been popular. What should people be looking for? Let's say a couple of people, a husband and girlfriend, a man and a guy and his girlfriend, husband and wife, etc., versus a family. 36-inch styles, brands. We're not necessarily going to do a commercial for any particular brand. I want to hear from you what you would recommend if I'm walking into the store.
So there's 30s and there's 36. It's typically the two most popular sizes. 36s are really big. 30s are big enough, typically for most cases. The 36 you would see if you had like a big family, or you did plan on doing a lot of entertaining. I would typically recommend 30 inches. And then really it does come down to there's different styles out there. There's some that are pre-seasoned. So if you're more on the lazy side and you're maybe not going to upkeep it as much, then you want to go towards something that's going to be a little bit more pre-seasoned already. Or if you are more like me and the man and you want to season it and maintain and keep care of your stuff, then you get more of like this what you standard see, which is cast iron. And then there are the people that are they want the best, they want the luxury, and you typically see that with commercial griddles as well that are fully stainless, and those are probably the best you can get. But there's a market for everybody, beginners to the extremes and the chefs of the world. So it just really comes down to the client.
Absolutely. So let's talk about you mentioned seasoning, conditioning, whatever you want to call it. Someone who gets a griddle, let's say they walk in there today and get one. What are some of the questions that you need to answer for them in terms of conditioning, upkeep, etc.? It's different than a pit.
Yeah, I typically recommend. So the thing with seasoning is pretty much all you're doing is you're wiping oil on it, you're burning it off. When you burn off the oil, it creates a polymer layer, which is pretty much what nonstick is. Now, I typically try to recommend if the person has the capability and the want to, I tell them to do 5 layers. If you do 5 layers of seasoning right out the gate, pretty much it's going to last forever, because then you just, every time you cook, you have to clean it, and then you just do a new seasoning coat at the end, and then you're good to go, and it's going to stay good forever. And that's typically what I try to recommend. Now, some people aren't going to do 5. Even if you do 1, it's going to be perfectly fine. Same thing. But what you really need to know is with griddles particularly is every time you're done cooking, you have to clean and you have to re-season it. Yeah.
Last thing here, and then we'll let you go, because we talk about breakfast, lunch, burgers, eggs, bacon, all that stuff. But don't sleep on what we do in our pits. Like you can cook some quality meals, and maybe not barbecue per se by definition, but what are some of the things that you've cooked on there, that you've made on there, that kind of get people thinking about they might want one?
My favorite meal that I make is I grab just like ground pork. It's a meal that I cook for me and my coworker up here all the time. It costs $10. I get a pound of ground pork. I get a can of pineapples, and I get a chipotle and adobo, and I get corn tortillas. And I make this pork and pineapple chipotle tacos, and they're amazing.
They sound amazing.
Yeah, they're so good. I mean, for sure, if they sold them at a taco truck, I'd buy them 100%. Yeah. It's super easy to come together in like 10, 15 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
And then you're done, and the tacos are just amazing.
That's awesome. That's DJ Mentzel, man. There you go. A lot of information there if you're considering griddles. We're gonna bring him back next week as well. And the ever important question next week, if you want to bookmark that for the Bite Meat podcast, is fish. Smoke it, grill it. How do you do it? We're going to ask him about that. We always talk about all the meats. Let's go into some fish here with him next week. But until then, you guys, appreciate everybody joining us. Jeremy Andrus from Traeger, of course, DJ Mentzel as well. And it's brought to you every week by Texas Star Grill Shop. And you guys have a great week, great holidays, and smoke it up. We'll talk to you next time. Just a little gap right there.
Yeah.
And unless you got to go check on anything, We can get right into the next one. But just as a heads up, I mentioned it when I emailed you. Grilling fish without fear. To me, a lot of people are intimidated by it, because the overcooking element and making it dry and all that. But maybe you can get into some tuna versus salmon versus other cuts of fish, and how you would do it, and anything, whether it's big green egg, Kamado, grill, pit, etc. And I might even ask you about what fishes do you actually do on a pit? On a pit too, yeah. All right, so here we go. All right, it is time for the Smokin Hot Tip of the Week, and we are back in the Woodlands with DJ Mentzel at Texas Star Grill Shop, and you guys know him by now, and his expertise is off the charts. But here's the thing, DJ, and I'm not going to say I've never fallen into this category. We all have our confidence cooks, whether it's brisket, ribs, sausage, chicken, whatever it may be. Fish just seems to intimidate, and it's an inherent fear, whether you're grilling it or smoking it or whatever. I don't want to overcook it. I don't want to overcook it. I don't want to overcook it. And so let's dig into some here, and feel free to throw in any type of fish that you would. But let's start with the difficult one that a lot of people don't think about, and that is fish in your smoker, whether it's an offset or a pellet grill or whatever it might be. What are the situations where you would actually prefer that?
You see a lot of smoked salmon. I actually like doing salmon really low, cold smoke, and making almost like a smoked cured salmon. And that works great on like a pellet grill and stuff like that. And it's a little bit more unique and different. It's not so much like your dinner so much. And I use a lot. And I'll put it on like bagels and stuff, make like lox with it. But salmon is really good on the smoker. Yeah, it's really good. Salmon, I like a couple different ways. Salmon's probably my favorite fish. I actually prefer a crispy skin. I love salmon skin personally.
Oh, me too. Me too.
I put salmon on the griddle a lot, and I know last week we talked about the griddles. But yeah, you just cook the flesh side down for a few minutes, get a little bit of turnover, and just finish cooking it on the skin. The skin's going to help protect you from overcooking it so much. And the good thing with like a good salmon fillet per se is you can see it cooking. You can see the color change go up the sidewall, and then pretty much once it's all kind of like that lightish pink, then you know it's done, because you typically want to eat salmon around medium rare.
Start to see those little white bubbles, just those little tiny white. I don't know what else to call them. They might be something else technically, but
yeah, there's probably a technical term there.
When I start to see those little white bubbles, and that's my sort of barometer on that. What would you tell people about overcooking? Do you temperature gauge in there?
Not anymore.
I do not. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, yeah, right. You're concerned about it. But ultimately, salmon's a pretty good fish that you don't have to worry about it so much. So I don't temperature probe, but it's pretty easy to tell on salmon, at least on the fillets and stuff like that. You can just pretty much see it cooking through, and then like you said, it kind of secretes that little bit at the top, and you can kind of say, "Hey, this is pretty much done." Yeah.
So I'm cooking for this year some monkfish for the first time in my life. First of all, I got to find some monkfish. First of all,
hopefully HEB's got it.
I think maybe one of those has it. But and I'm gonna cook a whole monkfish. It's just kind of this thing we do in our family. We do a tribute to different countries, and this year we're doing Italy, and that's one of the dishes they do. So when you cook a whole fish, now we're getting into a different level. What pit do you put on, and what are some of the recommendations you have?
I like charcoal. Typically, like a Weber. I've got a PK grill that I use more so nowadays. But really, any charcoal grill is going to work as long as you got a good grate. It's really hard to beat like grilled fish over like a mesquite lump or even an oak lump, stuff like that. Just imparts great flavor as the fats from the fish render down onto it.
What about? Yeah,
like my secret tip, because a lot of times like fish sticks to the grill and that can be kind of fall apart, and people don't know how to attain that, and so you do see people they'll wipe it down with like a oil or something like that. I use mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise on the grill?
No, I use mayonnaise on the fish.
On the fish? Oh,
yeah,
man.
so
this is why people come to this podcast. I haven't done that.
So mayonnaise is practically like 90%, 95% oil. And in oil, you wipe it down, it doesn't, the mayonnaise kind of sticks there a little bit more. It's a little bit thicker of a coat. And so makes it to where it doesn't stick as much. Typically, when a fish is done, it'll come off. If it's not coming up, and use like a carving fork, it's got two prongs you can get in between the grates. If you start to lift it and it doesn't lift, just wait a minute. It'll come off when it's ready. But yeah, I like to use mayonnaise.
What about flavor with mayonnaise? Do you notice any flavor?
You can. I've done it with like I've added like chipotle or like soy sauce and different things like that. You can do different, but really it's just using. It's the same reason I use mayonnaise on grilled cheeses and stuff like that instead of butter. It's mostly oil, and it really does help make it very smooth and sticks and pliable to the fish.
Yeah, a lot of people have used, I do as well, on grilled cheese. It never even occurred to me that you could do something like that. All right, so a couple more. Oh, go ahead.
Let's go. Sorry about that. Let's have it. If you get such a big gift card, you have to return. Yeah, you have to return. Oh, really? Did you look for that? I don't know, man. Yeah. You two do? Nah. It's a good crate. Really? Yeah. Which rate you got? Okay. You do.
Oh, my.
Just finish this up so I can go help Rick.
That's fine. Just a couple more minutes.
Yes.
I just got two more things, and then we'll let you go. I know you're working hard. All right. So two more things with you, DJ, here on the Smokin Hot Tip: spices and tuna. The ever vexing tuna. Spices on fish. What's your general philosophy on it, and what do you generally use?
I like typically on fish. I like it two ways. Either like your standard like garlic, lemon, herb. Really hard to beat. That goes really good, especially with whitefish. And I like Oriental flavors. So like a hoisin or some kind of soy glaze and stuff like that. It's also really good. So those are typically the two flavor profiles I go towards. I've tried some different things. I've tried like lemon, pepper, and I've tried Cajun. Cajun's good. That's another one. But typically it's one of those three. It's either like a lemon, garlic, butter, herb style, an Asian style, or a Cajun style.
On a more fishier, profile, frankly, I've tried the cockadoodle and I like it. It kind of tempers it down, gives it some good flavor at the end. I do like that. All right, last thing. So tuna is one. Hey, you see those beautiful tuna steaks, at H-E-B or wherever you're shopping, and boy, you got to get that just right. Take us through. You've got a nice 2-inch, 2.5-inch thick tuna steak. What are you doing to that?
Last time I did a tuna steak, salt, pepper, garlic, kept it pretty basic there, and white and black poppy seeds.
And you're on sesame seeds, yeah. And you're on your charcoal grill.
That one was actually not the charcoal grill. That one I actually did, I think, at like 350 on my pellet grill.
Oh, okay. And you still got that nice pink center and all that?
Yeah. I just cooked it to temp on that one.
Oh, nice. What is the temp that you generally hit so our listeners can
medium rare is really popular. Like medium. I go medium with tuna steaks. So it's like 135.
Perfect. So, 130, 128.
Yeah, 130. Yeah, 128, 135. It just depends on how you like it. Similar to like a steak. I typically like my fish more medium, more so than medium rare a lot of the time. So.
Well, that's awesome, man. I sure appreciate your time. I know you guys are busy with the holiday season and everything else, as people even doing returns and all that stuff. Really appreciate, DJ, you joining us here. This has been the Bite Meat Podcast, brought to you every week by Texas Star Grill Shop, and it's knowledge like that keeps listeners across the country coming back. So come back and we'll have some more for you. Until then, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Smoke it up, and we will talk to you next time.